Okay, picture this for a second. Imagine if you could just, well, buy a bank account online.
Buy one, not open one.
Exactly. Not open it, actually purchase it, and get this, there's a price list. Almost like you're ordering groceries online.
That sounds pretty unbelievable, like something out of
It
fiction.
really does, doesn't it? But an undercover investigation in India recently uncovered exactly that. A whole black market, a thriving one, where bank accounts are just openly for sale.
It's a genuinely unsettling reality. And today, yeah, we're going to take a deep dive into this illicit market.
Right.
We want to help you understand how it all works.
Yeah.
How these accounts are created in the first place, how they're priced.
Who's actually buying them?
Exactly.
Right.
And maybe most importantly, what are the loopholes in the system, the gaps that let this whole thing happen?
And just to be clear, our insights today, they come directly from that specific undercover investigation.
Yeah.
A really detailed probe that laid bare how this whole alarming network operates.
Yeah. And what it found is, well, it's pretty disturbing. It showed brokers openly selling bank accounts, sometimes for as little as like 7,000 rupees.
7,000, that's
Yes.
incredibly cheap.
It is. And that low price tells you something, right? It means this isn't some niche high-end thing. It's become a commodity on the black market. It makes financial crime accessible, even for smaller scale fraudsters.
So who are the actual people whose identities are being used here? How do they get caught up in this? Are they aware?
Often, no, not really aware of the full picture. We're talking about often job seekers, people in villages maybe struggling financially. They get lured in with offers of quick cash.
Just for providing their documents, I assume.
Exactly. Provide your documents, maybe get a small payment. Then an account is opened in their name, and bam, it's immediately turned into a tool for criminals.
And then resold?
Swiftly resold. To cybercriminals who use them for, well, everything. Elaborate scams, straightforward money laundering, bypassing financial regulations, you name it.
It sounds like quite an operation. Is it just a few isolated brokers, or is there something bigger behind it?
Oh, it's a much bigger.
Yeah.
The scale and organization are quite fascinating, actually. The investigation pointed to this whole sophisticated network. You've got brokers, sure, but also managers, agents.
Wow.
And they're not just in one place. They operate across multiple states in India.
And how do they even transfer the account details? Is it all cloak and dagger?
Surprisingly modern, in a way. Accounts are often transferred using channels like WhatsApp or Telegram.
Seriously, WhatsApp?
Yeah, complete with digital monitoring tools sometimes. It's like a parallel financial system sort of hidden in plain sight.
Okay, so we have this really troubling picture of how these accounts are sourced from vulnerable people and then funneled through this network. But you mentioned a price list earlier. Like any market, even an illegal one, there's pricing involved, right? What does that look like?
Absolutely. There's a very clear rate card, as the investigation called it. And the price basically hinges on one main thing, the transaction limit of the account.
The higher the limit, the higher the price.
Precisely. Which tells you criminals are willing to pay a premium.
Yeah.
Not just for access, but for, anonymity and the ability to move larger sums quickly.
Can you give us some specific examples from this rate card?
Sure. So the investigation found, for instance, an account with a 1 lakh rupee limit that's 100,000 rupees, priced around 18,000 rupees.
Okay, 18,000 for a 1 lakh limit.
Right. But then it jumps. If you needed an account with a 25 lakh limit, that would cost you about 60,000 rupees.
60,000. Wow. Okay.
And it goes way higher. For the, let's call them the big players in the criminal world,
Yeah.
an account with the 1 crore limit that's 10 million rupees that could be sold for 6 lakh rupees.
6 lakh for a 1 crore limit account. That's a significant investment for a criminal enterprise.
It is. And
Right.
it gets even more extreme. Accounts with a massive 5 crore rupee limit, they were going for up to 30 lakh rupees.
30 lakh. Just staggering sums.
It really is. And these high-limit accounts, they're gold dust for certain types of criminals. Think investment scams, big call center frauds, crypto-related money laundering.
Because they let you move huge amounts fast.
Exactly. Massive, rapid fund transfers. And crucially, it helps them avoid triggering immediate red flags within the banking system. It's like buying a key to bypass scrutiny, at least for a while.
Which brings us to the really critical question. How on earth is this even possible? How can this kind of thing flourish?
Yeah, that's the core issue.
The investigation pointed a finger at something called business correspondent points, or BC points. What's the vulnerability there?
Okay, so BC points are basically local agents or maybe small shops. They're authorized to offer basic banking services, often in rural or remote areas. The goal is financial inclusion, which is obviously a good thing.
Bringing more people into the banking system makes sense.
Right. But the downside, or the vulnerability the investigation highlighted, is that accounts are often being opened at these BC points without really robust physical verification.
So the checks aren't strict enough.
Apparently not always. And this lack of really stringent verification, it's not just a minor procedural slip-up. It's a fundamental weakness that criminals are exploiting. It makes it disturbingly easy for them to get these accounts set up.
I see. So the very system designed to help people access banking is being turned against itself.
In a way, yes. Dr. Aris Lohia, who's a former executive director at a nationalized bank, he specifically called this out. He described it as a systemic failure in enforcing the Know Your Customer, the KYC norms properly.
KYC norms, right?
It really highlights that tension, the push for making banking easy and accessible versus the absolute need for security.
That's a really key point. It's not just one bad apple, it's potentially a crack in the foundation.
Yeah.
So what are the experts saying needs to be done? What's the fix?
Well, the consensus seems pretty clear. Experts are urgently calling for stronger banking surveillance overall.
More monitoring.
Yes, and much tighter compliance checks, especially around account opening procedures. And crucially, a real crackdown on the brokers themselves, the ones actually running this underground economy.
So going after the supply chain, not just the end users.
Exactly. You have to dismantle the network that makes these accounts available in the first place.
Okay, so let's just recap a bit. We've uncovered this really quite disturbing market where bank accounts, these fundamental financial tools, are basically being weaponized. From low-value accounts for smaller scams all the way up to accounts handling crores of rupees for major criminal operations.
And we've seen how vulnerable individuals, often unsuspecting, are exploited to create these accounts, and how, critical gaps in regulation and verification are letting this whole black market thrive.
Yeah, and I think it's important to stress what we've discussed today. This isn't just some isolated issue happening far away. It really serves as a stark reminder, doesn't it, about the global challenges of digital security and keeping financial systems trustworthy.
Absolutely. Understanding these kinds of vulnerabilities, how criminals operate, it helps all of us recognize the sophisticated methods being used. And it underscores why constant vigilance is just so necessary from banks, regulators, and even us as individuals.
So maybe a final thought to leave our listeners with. Given how easily these accounts seem to be created, bought, and sold, what does this whole situation really tell us about that fundamental challenge we face today? Balancing financial inclusion, which is vital, getting more people banked, balancing that with the absolute imperative for rock-solid security and fraud prevention, especially as everything moves faster and faster online.
That's the multi-million-dollar question, isn't it? How do you open doors without letting the wolves in? It's a tough balance to strike.